What's up, Cox Raiders? I can't do that.
No, you could be like,
Oh, Greetings, ARCS members. Welcome to another episode of the Friendgame podcast. I'm your host today, Alex, back with the OG, Ian.
hi.
Yes, today, episode is mine. Again, I am the host today.
What are we on? 15 now?
Yeah, we've done 15 of these now.
Holy.
Longest creative commitment of my life.
It's low key, yeah. Not even a joke.
If you all, if any of you understood any like that opening reference at all, kudos to you. That was a Phantasy Star reference. By the title of the YouTube video, you'll know that we are talking about MMOs today.
Them MMOs.
Them MMOs, yes. RuneScape
That mechanical monkey operation.
Mechanical monkey
What?
operation. Yes, RuneScape counts as an MMO. Right? Everyone knows. You know, back when I was like 13 or 14, I would laugh at you, but yeah, RuneScape is an MMO.
I'm getting my butt kicked in RuneScape currently. Maybe I should not try to do more than one thing at a time.
Oh my goodness. Professionalism. It's alright. When we're in person, you won't be able to do that.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, you're going to be phone zoning in the middle of us talking?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Wow.
What are you going to do about it?
Wow. So, as a little outline of what we got going on today, we're going to be talking about some MMOs that we've played, which I don't think is a whole lot.
For me, it is actually very little, so you're going to be driving a lot of this one.
And then have some minor discussions about me telling Ian about the recent surge of Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
Because this
Apparently, there's been a lot of news recently.
Yeah, this month has been a pretty popular month for that. So I guess we just dive right into it, huh?
Yeah, you're driving.
All right. Was it so MMOs that we've played? I have not played. I haven't played a lot of the traditional MMOs, I'd say. Things like WoW and Final Fantasy, Guild Wars. I've played.
Is Dragon Age an MMO?
No. Dragon Age is an RPG.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's completely, it's completely understandable, dude. That is a legitimate question. But I have sunk hours into a couple MMOs. I play a lot of Phantasy Star Online growing up. I played a lot of that actually. My brother and I played a lot of that growing up. We also played DC Universe Online is another one that I played. My family actually played Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars together.
Oh yeah, because there's been a few of those now, huh?
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is still a running MMO right now. I did play a little bit of that. Didn't really get into it. Wasn't really something that I wanted to sink hours into personally. I think it's just because I didn't start with it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, when you jump into a new MMO after playing something else, it's kind of hard because you kind of have to like get a feel for how that MMO is compared to the one that you played. So
that's just because like MMO games are usually like what you devote a lot of time to, so you just get used to those systems.
Yeah.
And when you have to like relearn another one, it's there's a learning curve. Is what I would guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you get a lot of those systems that are that just play out just that slight difference that it throws you off a lot, right? Or maybe there's something about it that you just don't like. I think personally for me, I just couldn't get into the setting, the world.
The setting of
of Guild Wars
Of
2.
Guild Wars? Okay.
Because back when I was playing the original Guild Wars with, I had a group to play with. I had my family to play with, so that was a lot of fun for me to just like go questing and do stuff with them. But when it came to us trying to play Guild Wars 2, it was kind of rough because depending on factors that you choose in your opening hours of playing, you end up spawning in like different portions of the world and doing your own quests to get to the central area, and it's kind of the same way with the time that I played Final Fantasy 2, because Final Fantasy kind of does that same kind of thing. Let's see. So you really haven't played like that many MMOs at all, right?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before. I played a very, very small amount of World of Warcraft in like, I don't even know, like early high school. I don't even remember like what like expansion it was technically, like, so like I couldn't even tell you like what exactly like the content was that I was doing.
Right.
It was mostly just like something to do after school.
Yeah.
Because I played football in high school, so I like would get home and like just be tired. So I'll just like I'll play a little video games for a little bit and then be done.
Yeah.
But I played a dwarf paladin because he looked funny. I don't know.
Did you enjoy it though? I mean, like,
I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was. WoW was another one of those games where like it's better when you have more people to play with, just because then you can do the more complicated stuff. But when I was playing WoW, I wasn't doing any of the complicated stuff anyway, just because I was like fairly young and not like the reason why I was playing WoW was not because I was into MMOs. It was just because like, oh, this game is popular and like technically free to play at that point in time.
Right.
So like might as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't like I was like quote unquote playing WoW, but not like actually interacting with it in like the way that the WoW community like actually does.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, this looks cool. Oh, this weapon has 4 more damage than the one that I have. I'll use that. Like that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh man, now that I'm thinking about it, I did play some more MMOs. Oh jeez, I played some Korean MMOs during. There was a weird period of time where I was jumping from MMO to MMO.
Yeah. And then yeah, the only other one I played, I guess, is RuneScape, because I haven't played Final Fantasy or.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of PSO2.
Yeah, vanilla PSO2.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, I played a lot of that actually. I didn't get like really far into the to the end game of that game, but that was fun while I was playing.
New Genesis looks cool though.
I have been playing New Genesis. New Genesis is fun. It's still in that like early stage of the game where the story is very, very short because there really isn't, it's still new. The world is gorgeous. The game is gorgeous.
I was gonna say, I was watching a streamer play it the other day, and it looks really cool. But he was talking about how like there isn't a whole lot of end game for it right now either.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that the game will immediately jump to end game. Right now, the only big thing that people can do is hunt like rare spawns. But that's because we only have one region essentially open right now. Our next objective is to go west or east in the map, which is like towards the desert. So I'm assuming that that's when like our big sort of expansion to like the gameplay systems will go. But overall, the gameplay's really well. It's very smooth, and if you played vanilla PSO2, New Genesis won't be really anything new. It'll feel a little bit different because the combat systems are a little bit different, but all the changes they made for each of the classes and how things work feels really good. Personally, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, the person I was watching play was playing Gunner, I think, or Ranger, one of the two.
Ranger's the one with the rifle and launcher.
Yeah, so that one.
Ranger.
And it looked really cool because he was talking about how he liked to being able to switch to the free game to like use his crosshair like an actual shooter game.
Mm-hmm.
So and that looked cool.
Yeah. Was it there's a lot of skill expression with a lot of the classes. Some classes have blocks. Some classes have parries. There's dodge timing to like increase, your next hit on something, stuff like that. I've been playing a mage class. I've been playing the force class right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been a lot of fun actually because of how they changed. They changed how all the magic essentially works in the game. So in vanilla, you used to just like always charge your magic attacks because it just increases the damage. Now each of the spells work in two different ways: if they're uncharged or if they're charged. So now there's times
okay.
where you want to charge it, and there's times where you don't want to charge it because the spell will work differently and the cast time will work differently.
Interesting.
They also gave the two mage classes this new ability where if you use uncharged ice or lightning spells, you get a stack, and then you can build up to 2 stacks, and then when you use a charged form of that element, it will detonate those stacks and do more damage, which is really cool.
Is that just like Genshin Impact mechanics?
No, Genshin.
Genshin. That sounded familiar.
Yeah, Genshin is more on elemental reactions, so it's like fire with water or water with ice causes.
I could have swore when I was playing it for a little bit, and like I was just like using Lisa, like that was something that she did. But I don't know, whatever.
Some characters have like stack mechanics, kind of like that. Though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about then.
But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. All the classes are really cool, and it's just a game where you can run around with your friends and kill stuff, or you can just run around and kill stuff in general. Pick up stuff, explore the free world. Movement is fun.
That's all I care about, is that the movement is fun.
Oh yeah, the movement is fun. Unfortunately, there aren't like the really fast, free flowy classes yet, but we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
I think Braver's coming out soon.
That's the samurai.
Yeah, that's the katana and bow class. That'll come out soon. I think in the fall it's supposed to come out. So we're pretty close to that. And then the class after that is supposed to be Bouncer, the jet boots.
Okay, that's the one I played when I played it a little bit.
Yeah, the jet boots will come back, and then summoner we're not supposed to get until next year. So.
At least there's plans to continue giving stuff to the game, though, which is nice.
Yeah. They laid out like a bunch of stuff. They've also been coming out with a bunch of scratch ticket stuff, so a bunch of cosmetic stuff. If you're into cosplaying anime characters, that game's great for it. Oh man, I spent like hours and hours in the character creator just to like get my character just right, because the engine has changed from vanilla to NGS, and NGS there's new models, new like was the hair physics and outfit physics and stuff, and like details. So all the new stuff looks really nice, and I had to like change how my character's overall proportions and body and head looked because it was so different from the original game.
That's kind of cool.
And it was all free, so I mean I could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just go in and change it.
They know that their player base likes that stuff, so they updated it all. That's pretty cool.
I'm also enjoying that with all the new outfits that's releasing, people are being reasonable with the prices because they know that not everyone is going to have like billions of money laying around to pay for these outfits and stuff. Especially because we're still in the early stages of the game and there's no real way to make good money other than doing, like weekly.
Like just grinding your ass off.
Yeah. But Yeah, yeah. Traditional MMO wise, or like Holy Trinity MMOs, I'll call them, because that's the feeling I get with like WoW and Final Fantasy. I played DC Universe Online, and that was mainly because my dad was really into like the DC verse, essentially, and he actually got me to try and play that game with him, and we ended up playing that game for God, I think like almost 2 years.
Yeah, you talk about that game a lot, actually.
It was a really fun game.
Whenever we're talking about games, yeah.
Like I wasn't super into DC, or I wasn't super into like superheroes in general, right? Like I if you as a kid you could ask me like who your favorite hero was and I give you an answer, but if you were gonna like say, oh, do you like DC or Marvel more, I'd be like I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm like I don't know, but that was because I played a DC game, like that MMO. It actually like made me interested in like the villains and like the characters and stuff. So that's where I came to like really enjoy Batman as a character. And whenever you do like the Batman raids, it was like always really cool because you're seeing all Batman's tech in his Batcave and stuff come to life and try and kill you. But yeah, that game was a lot of fun. It was a holy. I can't say it's a holy trinity, because the holy trinity is tank, healer, DPS. It added a fourth class, which was called the controller, and it was essentially side by side next to, kind of like it was a mana giver. So you have your healer, and then you have now you have this class that like distributes mana to the rest of the team. And they had a lot of control-y effects, so they're almost like a control mage in like a MOBA, where they could
like where they would like debuff opponents and CC them and stuff.
Yeah, they could debuff opponents. They could CC like trash mobs or like they could CC the boss and stuff like that. So while tanks could also CC, a lot of their CC was more was the group based, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
That game was fun. That had a lot of cool like dungeons and raids and stuff I remember doing my first raid. That was really cool. That was my first raid experience too, like in a game. Was
yeah, like group hard activity kind of.
Yeah. It was Kahndaq, the land of like Black Adam.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That character, yeah. So
they're making a movie.
Yeah,
about Black Adam.
A movie about it.
The Rock is gonna play Black Adam. It's
Yeah.
gonna be kind of weird, but
I think it fits. I think it works. Because it's supposed to be like a backstory kind of thing too, if I remember.
yeah, I've just seen the movie poster. I haven't seen anything else about it.
But yeah, that was a really cool raid because it was themed really well, and like the final fight was really cool because you were facing like 4 mind-controlled heroes essentially at the same time. The Fortress of Solitude raid was really cool because you were going into Superman's essentially like secret lair and fighting enemies that were invading that. Gosh, what was another one? There was the Brother Eye raid where you were going through the Batman cave too, which was really cool. So essentially that's where my Batman technology trying to kill you, it was because Brother Eye was hacking the system and taking control of Batman stuff. That was
Who the heck is Brother Eye?
Brother Eye? It's a AI that was created by Batman.
Huh.
Did you play Injustice 2? Did you play the story? Did you see
No.
anything? No?
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Huh.
That is...
Created by Bruce Wayne to spy on other heroes to
Yep.
sate his distrust.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I have heard that Batman does have a contingency plan on all the other heroes in the Justice League, just in case they like go rogue and stuff.
There's a movie about that.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. That's why Batman's the best.
That's another podcast episode. We won't get into it yet.
That's just a random side tangent of that. Just reminds me of the time that I was talking about, or I was talking to my friend Sean about that, and he was like, "Yeah, I have two people that I know of that like go back and forth on that kind of stuff all the time." And I'm like,
On who's the best hero?
yeah, on like superhero talk, which is really funny.
That's an episode. I'm writing it down right now.
all right. Yeah, that was really fun MMO. I played healer. I really enjoyed playing a healer. I played a nature healer, which was a heal over time kind of healer. So I could apply healing to the entire team, but it was over a period of time.
Yeah, like a slowly stacked up kind of thing.
If I remember correctly, the comparison is druid healer in WoW. I'm not entirely sure because I didn't play WoW. So
yeah, I think because priest was more burst healer.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, my dad played the burst healer in DCU. Played I think it was sorcery healer. There was and then I did do some tanking. I unfortunately chose the wrong tanking class. I chose a fire tank at that time, which was like you make your health pool huge. And unfortunately, that class during that period of time that I was playing it didn't have very good like aggro pulling.
Oh.
The ice tank had like essentially like a one-way pull, so they could single out like mobs every now and then to pull, but the fire tanks could never do that. That's why anyone who chose fire went fire DPS.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's what I did when I played WoW. Was like I did some like small dungeons and stuff. So I would tank, and Paladin had like an AoE taunt. So I would just run into the room, AoE taunt, and then I could divine shield to not take damage. And then when my divine shield fell off, there was like a shield bash or shield throw move, and you could stun up to like 3 enemies for like 17 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that was DCU was interesting because you could have like a power and then you had like a weapon that you used. So your power determined all your like abilities and rolls, but your weapon determined essentially what your attack style was. So you could be a ranged or a melee, like whatever.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it was more of like an action MMO kind of thing too, because like you were doing combo attacks in between your like rotation of abilities.
Did it play like PSO or?
Kind of, but more with the sense of the like traditional Holy Trinity mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, you're doing all these actions and combos and attacking while also like keeping uptime on all your abilities and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Whereas in like more of the traditional Holy Trinity MMOs, there's kind of like a global cooldown between your spells and rotations. So whenever you use something, there's like a cooldown for all of your abilities before you can do something again.
Interesting. Okay.
I played Guild Wars with my family, as I stated. I was a tank because growing up, I was a tanky boy. Growing up, I always loved playing like the frontline, like warrior type characters. And then I grew older and became a mage.
Yeah, your inch just grew over time. Mine has stayed low. That's why I like to play frontliners.
But yeah, I played a warrior, and I was the front line. I always died first because I was the front line, and I was tanking everyone. And our group and our family didn't have a healer, so I had to rely on an AI healing me an AI party member healing me.
Oh, that's less than ideal.
Yeah, yeah. It was not ideal. That was really funny though. Now that I remember that. Um,
So what I'm kind of interested about, because there's been a bunch of news recently that like certain big content creators and streamers and everyone they've been switching from WoW to Final Fantasy 14, is it?
mm-hmm.
But that's the MMO.
Yeah,
And that's kind of going to be our main topic for today. I'm interested into like why that is, because
yeah,
Final Fantasy 14 has been around for like a while, right?
yeah. It's
Did
been a
like
while.
did it get an update recently that like is really good, or?
So from what I understand, they've announced their last expansion, Shadowbringers. Um, but no, essentially no. The game hasn't like gotten a huge update. It's just a lot of the content creators are now just moving away from WoW right now, and they've decided to give Final Fantasy a shot, and they've loved it. I've heard a lot of good things from a lot of these content, like WoW people have been enjoying the game, and because they've been enjoying the game, it's been getting a lot of people that have been on the fence on ever trying it out to like, you know, give it a shot because it's like, oh well, that guy, that
If so
streamer
and
guy
so is, yeah.
is like
Or
enjoying
like
it, then I probably
if
will
you're
too.
already a WoW player and you see, like one of the other like more popular WoW players playing it and
Yeah,
he likes it, and you're both playing WoW for similar reasons, then you might like it too,
yeah.
kind of thing. Okay.
Was it it was kind of funny because originally seeing some of these content creators, some of them were kind of so at the beginning of some people, their chat essentially like edging them on like, hey, like, would you give this video a quick watch and react to it and see what your thoughts on it were. And it's like I don't know if I'd enjoy that kind of like world or theme, was that kind of like look, the way that the characters look and stuff, because it's kind of more, if you're not familiar with how Final Fantasy's worlds and like aesthetics are, it can be kind of weird, right? Because
It's kind of anime.
yeah, it's got a little bit of like anime touch to it, right? Whereas WoW is more of that like strict fantasy world.
It's
Right?
like classic high fantasy, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were kind of like off put by that kind of anime aesthetic to it, but I think that now that they've given it a shot and tried it and seen the game for what it is, they're actually really enjoying it. But yeah, it's been fun to watch some of these content creators really enjoy the game, because they were talking about why WoW wasn't doing it for them, and they were like, yeah, the game is essentially stale right now. A lot of it is just end game grinding, and they don't want to do a lot of that. And they're also saying how like those of them that used to be like the high end raiders just don't really care to keep upkeep on trying to go for things like worlds first and stuff anymore, because it was there's all these like systems and stuff that you have to keep upkeep on to like level up your items and stuff, whereas in Final Fantasy you don't really have to do that. You can go into a raid and you get an item, you don't have to go and like mess around with the item to get it to its like most powerful form. I also saw a video recently on the difference between rating and like high-end rating in WoW versus high-end rating in Final Fantasy. And one of the points that was really interesting to me was that when you're high-end rating in Final Fantasy, if you take a couple weeks or a month off, you can come back to the game and still be in the same position as you were. But in WoW, like things have changed, or you might not have the best of the best or best in slot gear because you didn't get the best in slot version, since there's like random rolls on raid loot. So What was it? Oh, another thing too is that WoW's content is essentially whenever new content comes out in WoW, it's like outdated. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like Destiny. If you, you know, where when new content comes, all the old content kind of gets thrown to the wayside. Is never.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Whereas,
like as soon as a new raid comes out, there's literally no reason
yeah,
to do the
there's
other
literally
ones.
no reason to do the other ones.
Okay.
Final Fantasy doesn't do that. All the content is relevant for that period of time that you are playing and level it. So whenever you start a new character and then it says, hey, like this is a part of your story, you can do it at that level or you can come back and do it again and it's still relevant to you. People still do old raids because it gives them like some currency that they can use to upgrade their gear that's relevant like late game anyway.
That's interesting.
And there's also transmog items. So there's like cosmetic items to doing the raids and running them all the time. Because you can get mounts, you can get like armor transmog, armor looks, stuff like that. So you can still run those raids for, that cosmetic if you care about that kind of stuff.
I don't understand why fucking like every game doesn't do that. Like why does Destiny do that? It's actually just dumb. Like let's spend all this time making this thing, and like obviously we're gonna spend time making more things, but then like as soon as the new thing comes out, the old thing is just literally useless. Then all the time is wasted.
Yeah.
I like obviously I'm not a game developer and I don't want to armchair game develop, but like other games do it, so it must not be that hard.
Yeah,
But
I found it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something I found very interesting was that like the old raids
That sounds awesome.
Are never there's always people queuing for those raids essentially. So you can almost always find a raid group, which is really cool. And then there's also the like sorry. There's also like the top of the top like raids, the hardest raids. Those are hard from what I hear. Those are really hard. They're called ultimate raids, and essentially they take them game mechanics and they kick it up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I understand, WoW can have big raid groups up to like I think 40 people, if I remember correctly.
I don't know, but
It's like
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Final Fantasy's hardest of the hard raids are 8 people.
Oh,
And
really?
the reason why they have that is because with only 8 people, you can give, mechanics. You can give like a lot of people or each individual like responsibilities through the fight, right? It's kind of like Destiny where it's like, or in some of the harder Destiny raids where like everyone has a job and everyone has to do that job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting too to hear that like that game has something like that, and that's the reason why they developed those raids with less people in the group.
Is there a set like team size for raids, or is it always 8, or is the team size different for per raid, or
my understanding is that there are alliance raids which are 24-man raids. I think there's 4 of them. They're also a part of the story, so like you could go theoretically, if you play them, you're also playing them for the story. So there's 3 24-man raids. There's also 8-man raids, and then there's the harder tier of 8-man raids, and then there's the ultimate 8-man raids. So a lot of it is 8.
Yeah, okay. So it's not standardized. There's kind of different team sizes for different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that like people have been enjoying the story, just like the world, trying something new, and they've been really enjoying the rating, from what I understand. It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun to watch, honestly. It's been really fun to watch. It's really funny. The guy that I watch is a tank, He plays a tank class, so whenever he like walks up and pulls, one of his lines is like, "Oh yeah, everyone, do some big dick damage."
My God.
Yeah, so that's been like the big news going around, is that a lot of the WoW like content creators have been jumping over to try out Final Fantasy, and that's been really interesting to me, because Final Fantasy hasn't really had anything new. It's just they have all this content that you to play for you to play, and all of it is relevant, essentially. Another thing with that game is that that's one of those MMOs that you can play any class on one character.
Yeah, you can just like switch classes whenever.
Yeah. So
That's pretty cool.
So, you know, maybe instead of tanking, you want to learn how to play DPS or something. You can do that.
Is it kind of like how Phantasy Star does it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. It's essentially around the same thing, if I remember correctly. It's just kind of you change. I think there's the base classes, and then you can go and do like the side quests for the base classes too if you want. But I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy. I never really got into it, but watching all this and all the content that I've been seeing about like old WoW players that have been playing Final Fantasy for the last couple of years, they've been making me think, hey, maybe I should give the game a try, or actually give the game a try.
Yeah, that's another one that, like, if you have a play group, it's infinitely more fun because you can do all the group stuff then.
I think for me, while that is true, I think it's also the game. From what I understand, is that it is a Final Fantasy game first, and then it is an MMO.
Oh, okay.
So that means that, because I've heard a lot of people talk about like the story is really good in the game, because like, it's essentially a Final Fantasy story, but in an MMO setting, right? So,
right.
Like, you have this huge, vast open world that you can explore in an MMO, but it's a Final Fantasy game, so you're essentially following a Final Fantasy storyline, while you're also playing an MMO. So
that's good though, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because it means that a lot of this, or a lot of the questing and stuff, you can just kind of enjoy by yourself, right? You don't have to have a big group to go in and start playing the game if you want. I think a lot of the queuing and a lot of like experienced players are, from what I hear, a lot of the community is actually pretty nice, and they're willing to help you out if you just say, "Hey, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing here." So, I think I'll give it a shot. I recently talked to a friend that was like thinking about giving it a shot, and then they played it, I think yesterday. I was like, "Hey, how are you enjoying it?" And they're like, "Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think MMOs are for me." And I was like, "Yeah, like that's understandable."
There's a certain amount of commitment required, I feel like, to like fully enjoy it.
Yeah, to fully enjoy an MMO. So, I don't know. It's been a while since I've played an MMO like that, so that's I have had that itch of like wanting to play some sort of MMO, like class-based MMO like that again, realistically, because RuneScape really hasn't been doesn't really scratch that for me. You know, like the
it's a different type of game. Yeah, it's a different type of game.
But RuneScape is a lot of fun. Like, you've been playing a lot of RuneScape.
Yeah, I do understand though. Like if I could like make up a gripe about RuneScape, is that like you were saying, it's not a class-based game. So basically, all characters in the end game, like theoretically, look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because there's always best in slot stuff, and there's not like a role system.
Yeah. There's no
like hard in the game. So like, there's no tank DPS healer in RuneScape. You just like when you're doing this raid boss, everyone's running this weapon because this is the best, and just everyone has it.
yeah.
But in an MMO like that, you have different roles and different people doing different things with different gear, and that's cool because then your character is a little more specialized.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And that is fun to do because that's like why I like playing like D&D and stuff too, because like everyone kind of can do their own thing,
mhm.
and then it like kind of like works together within itself, and that's fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I think I might give that game a shot again. I'm not sure if I'll start that like anytime soon because we are moving, but we'll see.
yeah.
But yeah, that's essentially the news for that. If I'm honest, the game is just really good, and now I think another thing too to talk about with that is that a lot of players have committed to WoW for such a long period of time that it's kind of hard to go away from like an MMO that you've been playing for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever you jump into something new, if it's not like if it doesn't give you that feeling like WoW did, it's kind of hard to like fully commit to playing something like that unless you're like, hey, you gotta have to like look at the game for what it is, right? So, but I'm glad that game Final Fantasy is getting the attention. I think it deserves it. It's been around for a while, and with A Realm Reborn,
I was gonna say, I was gonna look up the release date for that.
yeah, that game has been around for I think since 2015. Is that right?
2010, it looks like.
2010? Oh, that was the original 14.
The original 14, yeah.
I think 2 years. 2 years after that was Realm Reborn.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
2013, yeah.
2013, yeah. So 3 years after that, they nuked
And
the entire world.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the thing where like it came out and it was bad, and they're like, "Yo, we're sorry," so they deleted the game and basically just remade it.
There's a really funny video actually that I should send you after this, but it's essentially what happened was the original Final Fantasy XIV was created with a engine that they didn't understand, that they made brand new, they didn't understand, and it was really bad. So they spent 2 to 3 years patching it to try and fix it, and then they got a new lead to come in and like take a look at the game and fix it. And he's just like, yeah, we're just gonna like delete everything and start fresh, essentially. So there was a date in the original Final Fantasy XIV that was like, hey, this is the end of this game. So when you get to that when you get done with the original quest line, and you're essentially seeing the end of the world happen. And once that timer ticked down, there was an ending cutscene that happened, and that's the ending cutscene that is the opening for A Realm Reborn.
Interesting.
Because the war essentially like started the new world.
That's such a cool way to do that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. Another really cool thing about that is that in the credits, you'll see all of like thanks to the players, because they fought in that war essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the original players that were on, the original 14 got a shout out to.
That's pretty sick. Really cool. Dang.
But question I have to ask is, would you ever give that game a try?
I feel like yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of the game, so like I've played. My Final Fantasy experience, just in general, is pretty limited. I've played 9.
Yeah.
And then I've seen 7, and I've seen whatever the one is with the boy band.
15.
With Noctis in them. So
Yeah.
I've seen that. So I imagine it kind of looks like like 15, like graphically and aesthetic wise, but in more of a fantasy kind of world,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Um,
okay.
I'd say that the game is. Oh God, it's so hard for me to, because most Final Fantasy worlds, most of the like mainline entries of Final Fantasy, is they sit between the line of like highly advanced or like
There's like a weird
fantasy with
technology
some.
feel in all of them.
Uh,
Yeah.
but this is like the weird feeling of like fantasy and also advanced.
Mhm.
So like there's some areas where it's like wooded, like your fantasy kind of, and then there's like the castles, and then there's like there's like airships around. So
There's always airships in
yeah,
the Final Fantasy
yeah, but
game.
there's always airships because that is a staple. It's just like there's always chocobos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you have any sort of knowledge of like any of the Final Fantasy monsters and stuff, you'll see them in the game.
Yeah, I would not like. Oh, how do I want to word it? I would give it a shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
there isn't necessarily anything that I would say like 100% no to. It's just like it's an MMO, so you just have to like just prepare your body to to play an MMO kind of.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
So
I
I would
definitely will give it a shot.
I would have to like
Ooh.
gonna keep playing RuneScape because it's fun. Um, But I mean, like we're gonna start playing Destiny like more soon, and I
Yep.
don't think I could play another game on top of that,
Oh
like
yeah.
that requires like like kind of daily login,
Attention.
daily stuff to do kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I would have to like drop something, I think, if I wanted to pick up another MMO,
Yeah.
or I guess
Yeah.
this MMO.
Yeah. I
At
feel
least
that.
I think I probably could do it because I'm a loser and I like to sit on my desk all day.
Mm, I
But
yeah. I think that a lot or the feeling that I get from some MMOs is that there's this feeling of like daily login and daily upkeep. Where, like you
mhm.
have to log in every day and do stuff, right? Um, I don't really get that feeling from like games like RuneScape, and Final Fantasy really doesn't give me that feeling either, which is kind of nice.
It's weird. For me at least personally, it's not like there's stuff in game that I have to do every day. Otherwise, I like miss out
Uh huh.
on it, like daily logins or like stuff that
Yeah.
happens after so much time or whatever. It's just like it's a pay subscription game, right?
Yeah.
So like you pay per month, which means you're like you could boil it down to like I'm paying this much per day to
Mm-hmm.
play the game. So I like it just like feels bad when I'm like
When you're not playing it.
I play this much per day to play the game, and then if I don't play it during the day, it's just like wasting money,
Yeah.
which isn't like necessarily true,
Yeah.
but that's just kind of like how internally I think about it, which is a
Right.
me problem, I know, but
No,
you
but
know,
like I
if
completely,
if it's
I
if it's
understand.
30 bucks a month and I don't play for a week, I just like waste $7 and that
Yeah.
just feels bad.
Yeah.
So,
Um.
and then in February you waste even more money.
Yeah. I. Gosh. I wanna do more research into it because I do think I remember seeing something about like being able to play the base game for free or something like that. So I'll do more
I was
research
gonna
into
say
it at some point.
if there is like a free entry point to at least play it,
Yeah.
I probably would do that.
Yeah.
Just because then there's literally no risk.
Yeah. Right. There's no risk.
So
You can at least like level up, enjoy the story, enjoy the like kind of gameplay mechanics, and learn. Um, do you know any of the classes though? What kind of classes do you play?
you've talked to me about them very briefly, and you've told me they're like it's not called paladin, but it's basically the paladin class, and it's
Oh
like
no,
it's not
there is a
called.
paladin class.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then,
They
well then that,
so
well then
so
that. That's
there's
what.
so the game has I think 6 classes,
Yeah,
but
because isn't
then
there like a main class and then you have a job too, which is basically like a subclass, kind
so
of?
your main class is like what your what you fall into, like class wise, but your job is what determines your essentially your role. right? So your class is like what you use, and then your job is what you do. So there's like, I think the gladiator class is the sort of melee frontliners. And that falls under like, you can do that, and that's a required class to level up in order to earn the ability to do certain jobs. So you have to level up the classes to get access to the jobs, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so you're like gladiator main class,
Yeah.
and then so like you can pick different jobs to be like different types of gladiators.
No. So it's like gladiator is the main class that you level up, and then you'll like go level up one of the other classes, and then your job, they like for the job you want. So then it's like, let's say that you want to do paladin. So one of them is going to be gladiator, and then another one of those requirements is like level this class to 15, and then once you get that to 15, you can now become a paladin.
And then paladin is your job.
Yeah, is your job. So then that becomes essentially your class, right?
I see. Okay.
But you'd be a tanky
Well,
boy, right?
Yeah, so it's like you spend time as the generic versions of any one thing,
yeah.
and then to unlock the ability to like specialize, basically.
Yeah, because the generic versions have like base skills and stuff that you end up using in your job.
I
From what I
see.
understand.
So is it like a roundabout way? It's like Code Vein, where like you pick a blood code to unlock
skills and spells,
so then you
and
can
stuff.
transfer it to your custom thing to make it more personalized.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of similar in that way.
That is interesting.
Yeah, because obviously there's like optimal rotations and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. You'll learn as you play the game.
People have done the math and said like, if you're doing this, you should do this, and
Yeah.
this, or whatever.
And then like use this if like you feel like you're gonna die and stuff like that. But like that is essentially the basic gist of it.
I see. So that like the game itself is like promoting you to like try and play other things because that's how you unlock new stuff.
Yep.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then I think jobs have like a separate level from your classes too, or something like that. But I can't be entirely sure.
Because you played it for a little bit, right?
I did.
You played like a beta or something.
I played a free trial a long time ago, and then I was looking into playing the game or trying out the game again. I played a conjurer. That was the class that I played, and then I wanted to become a God, what is it? I don't remember the healing class. It was the pet healing class, essentially. I wanted to be a healer, and then I played another free trial later because a friend had told me that they had started playing it, and then I decided I was gonna be a white mage instead. So I was gonna go down the road to become a white mage, which was a different class, if I remember correctly. So. I feel like you'd be a tanky boy, so.
I'm gonna play now. I'm gonna look up what the class system is. What the classes are.
I also have a video for all the jobs. That's pretty informative.
Oh, job guide.
Yeah, the jobs.
Is this what I want to look at? Oh yeah, so yeah, like so tank is your class, but then your job would be paladin, warrior, dark knight.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I see. This makes more sense now. I have this in front of me.
Now that you have it in front of you.
I see. Okay.
I feel like you would be a paladin or a warrior.
I am a paladin. I like paladins, I should say.
You like paladins, but I know your enjoyment of the big boy weapons.
I do like big boy weapons too. Yeah.
The warrior wields a giant axe, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Dark Knight does a two-handed greatsword.
Dark Knight sounds edgy too. I might do that.
And then is it Gunbreaker? Is one
Gunbreaker? Is it to do with guns? Oh,
it's a gun sword. If you've seen
It's a
Final
gun
Fantasy VIII's
sword.
Squall, he has that same kind of gun sword.
I want a gun sword.
And they're a tank, so they're a tank class.
Why? How are they a tank? What?
Yep.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want a video on that, I can send that to you.
No, you can't start sending me stuff because I'm gonna like just get super into it. Don't push me off the fence onto the side with Final Fantasy, man.
But there's so many cool things about it.
You actually just like my ears perked up when you said all content is relevant all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And then the nightmares I had last night, and it was just the words "Destiny Content Vault" circling around in my head. Like,
I've been watching a streamer, and he's been going through the story, and he's been doing each of the raids at like the minimum required like level, item level. Do. So
to do like the hardest version of it,
yeah,
basically.
Essentially, it's like the day one version of it, and he's been clearing that, and it's been fun to watch. It's been really fun and interesting to watch. But
Damn it, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did this to you.
I like kind of knew this was gonna happen, but it's alright.
It's alright. I mean, you still got RuneScape to play, so we still got.
Yeah, I don't get fucking gun swords in this game.
True, but you can work your way to swoosh.
Yeah, I'm far away from swoosh.
True. Me too.
I just got bonk.
Oh, you just got a Dragon Warhammer?
No, lance.
Oh, you just got a lance.
Yeah. My next progression is 99 range. So.
True. Yeah, you're gonna hit that before I even hit that. I've been working my way to Song of the Elves right now.
Yeah.
It's like what I'm slowly progressing towards.
Yeah. Is there scaling like that in Final Fantasy?
From what I understand, there's like crafting profession. There's like professions, so you can be like, you can go and become a fisher or like.
So you have a job and a profession.
Yeah, you can have a profession if you want. So there's people out there that like all they do is like wood cutting or like they
I see.
You know, they work.
Then you could like make money and stuff and do that.
Yeah, you can do that kind of stuff for like money and stuff too.
Are there like so like when you do raids, is there like anything like alting or no?
Anything like ulting? No. Everyone
everyone's a combat participant.
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone is
That makes sense, but I was just wondering.
Obviously, well, each from what I understand, everyone is doing damage regardless on your role. You are required to do damage.
Mm-hmm.
So even healers are required to do damage and have a damage.
That's just like Phantasy Star. Everybody's DPS.
Yeah, everyone's DPS. Yeah, but obviously, you know, like if you're a healer, you're gonna have the role of healing everyone too. So yeah, I always figured that you'd be a tanky boy or you'd be a DPS.
If there's like a off tank DPS kind of role too, I might dabble in that.
The cool thing about tanks, from what I understand, is that tanking in the game is you have a stance button where it's like you are either tanking or you're not tanking. So if there's a guy that's like, hey, I'm gonna tank stuff, you
just like switch off and you can DPS. Yeah, you like off DPS kind of.
Become an off DPS.
Okay.
So.
Because that was I remember when my short time when I played WoW, I played with one friend that was kind of into it with me, and he played like Dark Knight or something like that, and he was like a off tank DPS,
yeah,
like melee.
Yeah.
And when he was talking about all the stuff that he was doing, it sounded really cool. So now I gotta bring back up the class chart and look at what the melee DPSs are.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
I don't know. Dragoon?
Yeah, Dragoon,
Monk?
Dragoon
Ninja?
Is a melee DPS.
Because that you have
also a melee DPS.
Oh, dude.
Samurai is a melee DPS.
I don't know if I would be a monk because I don't want to just punch things. I want to
Yeah.
have a fucking sword or some shit.
Yeah. A lot of the You sound like the content creator or the streamer that I watched too.
I want to have a sword.
Well, he was watching the video that I was watching too.
Why is there no magic melee DPS?
Red Mage. Red Mage is a caster class that also
It's under is the magic range DPS section here.
Yeah,
so.
it's because they use magic to build up their meter, and then they spend that meter on melee attacks. So they cast white and black magic. They're capable of casting white and black magic, and then once they fill up their gauge, from what I understand.
Well, then what's a blue mage then?
A blue mage? I'm not entirely sure, but class or job wise, blue mages in Final Fantasy's past have always been like the imitation mage. So they can take like enemy abilities and stuff.
I see. Yeah, they are in the magic range DPS subsection I'm looking at. So
I think they're the new class being added in the new expansion.
it does say limited job.
Yeah.
Under blue mage. So.
But yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's Dragoon though. Because then I can look like LOL's Monster Hunter character.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter. Well, remember that Monster Hunter collaboration was a Final Fantasy XIV collab.
Right.
That's why the Dragoon armor looks like what you see there.
And Ninja's more rogue.
Yep, Ninja is more rogue.
More rogue-like. Bard is a DPS class?
Bard
this is so
DPS.
weird.
They're a support DPS class, which is really cool. Their spell or their rotation plays songs that allow you to buff the entire team.
Uh-huh.
But they're a bow class, so.
Dancer. That's
Dancer
so weird.
was in Stormblood, if I remember correctly. And they like choose a dance partner to like buff up. Ian's just doing research.
I can't, man. Gotta stop.
But yeah, that's if I go back and play that, I will probably look at doing another Conjure. So I'll probably do another what is the class?
Like summoner build.
It's a healer class. It's the pet healer class. I don't remember what it's called. This is white mage, astrologer, scholar. That's it. Scholar's that's the class that I would play.
Oh yeah, the picture it's their character and they have a little pixie sitting on their shoulder. So yep. I think that's the one.
Yep. They give healing and shields, from what I understand. White mage is just pure healing. And then astrologist is like a utility healer. And they have a new buddy in that too. I don't remember.
Astrologian, huh?
Yeah, they use like Tarot cards to have like healing effects and stuff.
Huh. Well, I guess Ian's gonna do some research.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've done this to you.
Yeah, it's fine.
But you know, I gotta bring other people into the hole with me. Hee hee hee.
Yes. Yeah. We might have an update in a future episode. Ian gains 300 pounds playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah. I am excited to try that game again with all the kind of buzz around it, because I don't think I gave it a fair chance.
Yeah, we'll see if there is a free base something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Might do that. Give that a little dabble.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know once I figure that out. I'll also send you the jobs video because it's funny. Or it gives you a brief description on all the jobs in the game.
Yeah.
Which will be useful. But what our most recent MMO is RuneScape. how many months have we been playing that? 3, 4, something like that.
Well, we started in March,
3?
I think. We were talking the other day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Gosh, it's only been like 3 months, huh?
I have 29 days played.
It's a good thing it's not on your Steam library.
Yeah, because then other people would get to see that.
Yeah, right. I think it's funny to see one of our friends started in I think like half the amount of like time that has been spent during.
Yeah. Like since March, half the amount of time he's been alive, he's been playing Runescape. He also works from home, so like even if he's just like has it open doing nothing, the time's ticking up. So.
Well, he could just AFK while doing stuff.
Right, yeah, because he's at home working anyway. So
that was really funny though.
That's really funny. And he's like, yeah, there's been 60 days of time, and he's been playing for 30 of them, or something like that.
At that time.
When we were talking about it, yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
We'll see, because we do have another friend that is bigger into Final Fantasy and like does raids and had a raid team and all that too. So maybe we can pick his brain a little bit too, since we're talking about that.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure he'd be interested in seeing that. I don't know.
Giving us the rundown.
I think it's funny because like I have like just random sprouts of like friends that do play that game, but I've never delved into to myself or talked to them about it. So.
That surprises me a little bit because it seems just like a you kind of game.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just that I haven't given it its fair shot.
Right.
Because like I think I was judging it in a different way than I should probably be.
Plus, if like you were like looking into it in the past, there's like been updates and stuff since then probably. Right. So there's probably more stuff in the game or more to do, better things to do. They've been updates and all that. So
yeah, and from what I've been
hearing,
like
all the like some of the classes are just like new too. So
from what I've been hearing, the base game starts out really slow, but that's because like it was new at the time, so it's going to start out slow.
Right, and I think any big game MMO like that, like
does that.
Not only are you like trying to learn how to play, just like move your character and do stuff, but like then you're trying to like.
You have to walk everywhere.
Walk everywhere and learning about the world and locations and people and the story and the conflict and all this shit.
Yeah.
On top of learning how to play the game too.
Right.
So.
But yeah, wow. We spent a lot of time. Spent a lot of time talking about a game that we don't play.
I suppose, yeah.
That was fun though. It was fun to see your reaction. That's for sure.
Yeah, because of game genres that exist, this is the one that I have way less knowledge about compared to like our last episode when we were talking about like looter games. We've played a bunch of different ones.
Right.
I've played like 1.5 MMOs. So
yeah. I'd say that the kind of holy trinity MMO is the game, or that the MMO type that I've played the least, because I've played a lot of action MMOs.
Yeah.
Things that kind of relate to Phantasy Star. So I've spent more time playing those kinds of games than I have the holy trinity kind of type. But I do want to give another Holy Trinity a shot because I lost the one that I was playing.
Right, yeah, the one you did play, you enjoyed a lot. Yeah, so
I liked that a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was even more fun when I got my friends into it. Back when we were in high school, I got my like other friends into it, and then we had a full like dungeon party to go and do stuff.
Right.
So
like, what would be a good group of people to play with? Like, is like 4 enough, or like what?
I'd say 4, because there's dungeons and stuff that you can do, and those only I think those are like mini. They call them like mini parties or something like that. Mini duty parties, something like that. But they're essentially that allows you to go dungeon and do whatever. do most of the content. You can always queue for like certain raids, because certain raids are like you can just like random queue into it. But like the harder stuff you have to like party for. So
That makes sense.
yeah, but I'd say 4. Like, and
Because
then
like if we
you
know
convince-
one person plus us plus someone else probably plays.
there's probably more
I
people
don't
that play.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think
We'll
there's
see.
people that we play RuneScape with that actually play the game too. So
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Another episode.
We'll see. It my interest is peaked though.
Hey.
We'll see.
Well, is there anything else in the MMO topic here? You'd be interested in?
I'm interested. Well, I'm interested in like for Final Fantasy, like how does gear work? Is it like you have like armor slots and stuff that you can mess around with?
Yep. You have armor slots, and you also have fashion slots, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So
I don't have anything to really compare that to. I don't really remember how it worked in a while, but
yeah. I'd say think of it how the think of it like how Destiny's works right now, except you don't have to pay a limited currency for it. You can just do it at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're not
for the fashion.
Yeah, for the fashion.
You mean?
Like early game fashion kind of sucks, right? Because your gear is going to look very similar all the time. But like if there's like a look that you kind of like you liked your starter look more, then you can always you can once you get that piece, if I remember correctly, you can always go back to looking like that.
Right. Alright. Okay. Because that is at the forefront of any game I play. You have to look cool. So.
I mean, if you like being, if you like looking cool, MMOs got you covered.
I know, yeah, because like the reason why, like me as just like in any game I play, I like being like a frontline, like tanky, like two-handed weapon style fighting. Usually is like goes back to when I played Warcraft 3 as a kid, the Warcraft RTS game. How they portrayed the paladins in that game, like Uther and fucking Arthas and them.
Yeah.
They're just like dudes with big shoulder pads and two-handed warhammers, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Lean is like, me look like that, please. That's why I like being big boys.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll love how the gear looks in that game.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll have to take a look.
Yeah, but I guess that's it for our MMO talk, huh?
You're driving,
topics of
so
the day.
yeah.
So.
Oh.
God, I had one, or I had another one. What was one? One of them is I started a new gacha game. It's bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, which one?
So I told you this, but I've fallen down the Toho.
Oh, yep.
Dungeon. The Toho iceberg, the Toho hole, whatever you want to call it, and I had figured out that the global release for that gacha game has come out, and I gave that a shot yesterday. And yeah,
what's it called?
Toho Lost Word. It is a gacha game that I think not Crunchyroll. It's what was it?
Good Smile.
Good Smile. That's Good Smile Company was behind as well. It's actually pretty good. Not gonna lie. I've been enjoying the Toho world and learning more about it, and I've been enjoying the characters. The gameplay is actually like pretty interesting.
It is an interesting world where it's just like the whole thing where it's just like kind of fan based, kind of fan created is just interesting to me.
So the creator, yeah, the creator has left everything out to the fans for interpretation. So this game, actually, all the characters are voiced, and they have 3 different voice options depending on like what you think of how the character is supposed to sound. So there's 3 different voice options that you can kind of choose from. So they got the voice actors to do essentially 3 different voices, which is really cool.
That is pretty cool.
And the story is interesting because it fits under like the Toho world, and the rule set of it, and it's also just been like fun to learn about all the characters because all the characters are humorous in some way.
Where's Cyrano?
Oh, I met Cyrano. Actually, she was my first pull.
Well,
My first 10 pull was a Cyrano.
why am I not seeing her in the character list?
For Lost Word? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
She's actually in the story too.
I'm on the official page. Why is she not there?
Oh,
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh, they show a lot of the other characters. Reimu, Marisa, Kari. I think it's because...
Yeah, I saw Marisa.
Oh, I know why they don't show her. It's because there's a prologue. There's a prologue section of the story. And all those characters on that show up in the prologue, but Cyrano doesn't.
Oh, I see.
Cyrano shows up after the prologue. So.
I'm looking at another one now.
But yeah, the gameplay is interesting because it's a turn-based RPG, but also it's like a turn-based RPG, but in the logic of like the Toho universe.
Right.
So the Toho, for people who like short sweet thing about the Toho world is that it's a game series that was created as a shoot 'em up, so like a top-down shooter. And they got really popular, and all the characters and stuff have been created by the creator, but also left to more interpretations by the fans. And the like rules in the universe is that the way that they solve their problems is by shooting bullets at each other and using what they call a spell card system. So essentially, they like use their spell cards to shoot bullets at each other, and that's how they solve their problems in that world, which is really fun. Anyways.
Which is pretty funny.
Because they'll just be like, no, I'm not going to let you through this door. All right, I guess we're going to have to fight. And then they fight by shooting bullets at each other. And that's just like canon in the lore.
And then there's a bunch of spin-off games too.
Oh yeah.
Like there's like the one that I was watching you play is like a Metroidvania style platformer. Like it's like literally just Metroid, but it's like 8-bit anime.
Yep.
Waifus.
Yeah. Was it there's another one that I found. It's a fan game that's like a rhythm game. It's like all the Toho characters kind of doing their daily thing, but instead it's like to a song from the series, and you're playing a rhythm game, like rhythm mini game in it. So I might find some time to actually play that. But that looked like a lot of fun. But yeah, I've fallen into another gacha trap. Add that to my list of gacha games.
Sedge.
I'm sorry, Karate, I've let you down.
Oh, is that what they were talking about in your stream the other day? Like, you could, but you shouldn't.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about it. I was really thinking about it. I'm like, man, should I do this? I should give it a shot at least, right? No, I shouldn't. Because it's going to be bad if I enjoy it. Here I am now. All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, we'll leave that up. We'll leave that question out there.
Sounds like we're gonna have some updates for next episode.
Yeah. Let us know. Hey, if you're a fan of MMOs, or maybe if you're not,
Yeah.
what kind of class do you like to play in games in general? Are you a tank? Do you like being in the front lines and protecting your friends, fighting for your friends, or are you more of a I want to see big numbers kind of person? Let us know.
Or if you are a Final Fantasy XIV player, say something to convince me to play it.
Yeah. That. Anyways, this has been another episode of the Friendgame podcast. Again, your host Alex and the OG, who might become an MMO addict.
Yeah, we'll see.
But thank you. Just want to thank you all for watching and do the YouTube stuff. Peace.